also Beijing and Tokyo, in addition to Hong Kong in Asia. Give us your reasoning as to how you chose those two cities and why such big expansion next year.
All right, the Asian market has been an incredible market in the last 10 to 15 years. The first market to get established was Japan, almost 30 years ago, and we refer now as a very traditional market when we think about Japan. Lately, what has happened is really the opening of China, which is really just unbelievable in terms of potential. Obviously, it's just an emerging market, but the potential is just incredible. And 10 years ago, China was not even in the panels, in the statistics. Now we see China become the 8th largest producer in the world and the 5th largest consumer in the world. So there is absolutely, it is absolutely obvious that as Vinexpo, we need to go to the markets and make sure that we bring our exhibitors to the right places.
Why Beijing? Why not Shanghai or Guangzhou?
Okay, well, first let's talk about Hong Kong. Hong Kong started 15 years ago. It was perfect timing, and Hong Kong became a very, very exciting, a very successful affair, to the point actually that we have so many people waiting on the list that we decided to expand actually Tokyo 50% bigger, so which means that next year we will offer to a much larger amount of exhibitors the opportunity to meet the Asian markets. Now, of course, Tokyo being very established and very traditional needed also some attention because it's a market that has become to a certain level of sophistication. We need to spend time with our Japanese friends, and they have a fantastic sommeliers association and all that.
Right. You had many of them coming to Hong Kong.
Yes, absolutely. But we will. So what we planning to do in Tokyo is a very focused Vinexpo, focused on the on-trade, focused on the sommeliers association, bringing very sophisticated master classes and tastings and all that. So that's for Tokyo. Now, China, of course, being the market of the future, we have to go there. We have to implement a Vinexpo in China. Why Beijing rather than Shanghai? Very easy. First, Beijing is the capital of China, and we believe that it is a very central, very important city in terms of image, in terms of headquarters of big companies, public companies, private companies, and so forth. And frankly, Shanghai has already a number of wine events and exhibitions where Beijing...
It's a smart choice. Right. And I noticed in this show this year there is a lot more Chinese wine producers and exhibitors, and in fact the one thing is that and they're not all wine producers, they're Baijiu or Hangzhou producers. And so is it, do you think that they will play a bigger and bigger role in Vinexpo?
I'm absolutely convinced of that. It is just the beginning of a very long and successful story, I think, because China obviously has been sort of blessed because most of the Beijing and most of the wines produced in China were consumed in China. But as the market becomes more global, including for China, I think the big companies and the Beijing companies particularly, I think we have a big Sichuan pavilion this year here, will need to look at export markets and start to sell outside of China. So I think Vinexpo is a perfect platform here in Bordeaux, actually, and in Hong Kong, and certainly in Beijing will be a perfect platform to meet professionals from all over the world. They will have the opportunity to meet importers from different parts of the world. So I think it's really the beginning of a long, successful story, I think,
what
for China.
surprised me is that here in France, you have such a tradition of both wine and spirits. So if you're looking at cognac or armagnac and high quality spirits as well. that it seems to be a very tough market
Yes,
for
it
them
will.
to get attention.
It will certainly be a difficult market to crack. But the big thing is that today, I mean, we've become such a. I mean, the planet is is shrinking. I mean, we're not talking about provincial approach now anymore. I mean, it's really a global approach, and the consumer also, which was very, very parochial. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, has really become interested by productions of all sorts from all over the world. I mean, the consumer loves to experiment now. And I think very naturally they will try to understand what China is producing, and with wonderful products and the cognacs and all that. But even the French now become interested by what's produced outside of France. Exactly.
So last question. I mean, I know that the overall, when I've looked at the last 6 months figures for wine, it's not looking so great, at least from my perspective. I'm based in Hong Kong, but work a lot in China, and I can see that the growth is really slowing down quite a bit. In this market, I also see a lot of wine shows. Provence, Cial. I mean, everyone seems to want to have a place in this market, in this environment. Are you not at all worried or concerned? Do you feel that it might be a challenge to do another show?
No, actually.
I don't feel it's overcrowded.
No, I think the way the wine and spirits consumption is developing in the world, I think there is room for everybody, basically. It is, in the middle of the crisis, the worst crisis that has ever impacted the world since 2008. We are in an incredible situation where, despite the crisis, the wine and spirits consumption has never ceased to grow. It's about a 10% growth in global, I'm talking of course, in 10 years, which is basically 1% growth every year. According to the studies that we make, Vinexpo conducts a lot of surveys, we believe that the next 5 years will be also growth. So we are really blessed with a situation where the consumption being growing, there's a lot of room for expansion, and
room for everybody.
Room for everybody. The more people talk about wines, present wines, show wines, the better, because we create more consumers every time, and there's really, in my opinion, particularly in Asia, because today is China, but one day it will be also India. There are all the markets, emerging markets in the rest of the world, such as Brazil and all that. I think we're in an industry where we still have a great potential. Doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean that there will be no problems. But all in all, we are in a growing industry.
Great. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.